Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another presentation of Nerd Rage Gaming Live here. We've got FNM tonight. I'm your host, Andrew Donnelly. With me, as always, my faithful co-host, Matthew Robert Dow. Matt, you're looking over some sideboards there for the contestants of what appears to be a 5-round standard event.
Yeah, dude, we got a big one here tonight. 5 rounds. People showed up in droves tonight, I guess.
Yeah, they're loving it. I mean, it seemed like a slow week for Magic with tournaments going on across the U.S., but tonight's looking pretty good. Yeah,
people want to come out, I guess, and battle the brews they've been testing over the week. And we got one of them here in Nick Zimmerman. He's playing Naya combo, which might not be a brew. It might actually be the deck that, like, if you watched SCG LA over the weekend, they had some, like, 50-minute match where there was a Naya combo deck, I think, and a Naya deck playing, a Naya mid-range deck playing a green-red devotion deck. And essentially what happened was they just got into a green creature board stall because nobody played any removal. And yeah,
really?
The game lasted 50 minutes.
Was that the game with one of the cards we called from regionals? Was that the Mastery of the Unseen game?
Yeah.
Game was brutal.
Yeah, it was awful. It was literally everything I hate about Magic.
Yeah, I agree. The game was... I'm glad we got to see one of the cards that we talked about, but it was really hard to watch a guy go from 2 to, I believe, 142 life was his his ending life total.
Right.
Insane.
The problem was, like, this is what happens when you, like, make cards and have decks where nobody plays any removal, and when you have two of those decks that just, like, go head-to-head, sometimes you just get into these board stalls that are, like, EDH Commander board stalls where nobody can attack and block and do anything because it's just 8 million green creatures staring at each other.
And Whisperwood Elemental definitely makes that easy. I mean, that
yeah,
card is... Sure. That card was, first of all, the nut whenever we've usually seen it play, and then the nut on top of that match.
Although, you know, people were looking to deck themselves there. The green decks decking themselves from manifesting so much was pretty entertaining. No, wait, no, it wasn't. It was awful.
So these two look like they're underway here. Chris kind of looking at his hand, doesn't look real happy. Nick seemed to be okay with his.
Yeah, Chris on Jeskai Aggro here. So I know just a deck that Brad Nelson said people should stop playing, along with Heroic and Mono Red.
Really?
Abzan Aggro, yeah. It just says Jeskai is just a worse red deck, red-white deck.
So we'll see a Scryland from Chris. He says that's fine. Turn 2 here. He looks like he draws a Seeker away off the top.
Yeah, he's got the island there. It's also a Shivan Reef, so he's going to play a Seeker and ship it back to Nick. Chris, I think those are foreign FBB islands that he's rocking, not actual beta island. So
still has that Mark Poole art though.
Yeah, still nice. Gonna swing in for the Seeker for 2. Nick's seems to be stuck on red mana. I don't know what kind of hand he kept here. It seems like a loose one if his first 2 land drops are 2 mountains. So we'll see what Chris's follow-up is here. Looks like he has a pretty top-heavy hand. A couple of Stormbreath Dragons, I think, in there.
He just pump-faked the Seeker,
yeah.
And I think this is a play you kind of like here. If your opponent looks like they're stuck, you want to apply just more pressure to the board.
Yeah,
something you talked about in the Heroic deck.
I'm not afraid of, like, Nick's shown me now red, white, and a Hammer of Perforos. Like, you're not afraid of Bileway here, so I just jam every creature I can cast. And, like, there's another one in Mantis Rider, which Chris will probably play here and attack in for 4. Well, so he's gonna not play the Mantis Rider. Looks like he's gonna take this opportunity to cast Abzan Advantage. I think that's what that is.
Yes, it is.
So Nick's gonna read it. Chris is gonna get some prowess triggers. Nick's gonna sack his thing. Chris is gonna bolster one of his Seekers and hit in for 7 there. Nick's gonna go to 9. Those should be one should be a 4/4, the other one should be a 3/3. So Nick should be taking 7, going to 9. Chris should go to 27. I'm pretty sure Nick's at 9.
Let's take a look here as they're
attacked for. No, he attacked. No, he's right. He attacked for 2, put him to 18, and then he attacked for 7, put him to 11.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Nick's gonna find another Plains and attacking with Shaman of the Great Hunt for 5, which I mean, like, this is just not a good situation for Nick to be in. He's not gonna race these Seekers away, especially when he's already starting at 11.
Oh wow.
So Chris draws a Stoke the Flame, so I don't think he definitely doesn't have a fourth land. But I think he can just play a Mana Strider here and attack for 8.
Sure.
Put him to 3, and then any burn spell is just going to kill him.
A few weeks ago, we talked about that Abzan Advantage seeing play in sideboards. We brought it up just as a discussion point. It's interesting to see it here round 1.
Yeah, I think Chris is on Martin Uses list. Martin was playing that card main deck when he top-8'd GP Seville. So Chris is going to attack with the Mantis Rider, take a Pain off the Shivan Reef, and put Nick to 3. So Nick effectively dead here. Has no outs.
Yep.
And I don't know what kind of hand Nick kept, but that was super loose.
It looked like he had land, but then a lot of green spells.
He kept like a 2-lander when his 2 lands were mountains.
I should clarify my point there. It looked like he had land off of the color that he was actually trying to cast. It looked like he had a Voyaging Satyr in hand, potential other green card, and just nothing else to... I mean, no red backup. What are we... Is the hammer really our best play? I mean...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
Sideboarded up.
On the sideboard, let's see what Nick can pull out of his Naya mid-range sideboard here. So he has 2 End Hostilities, 2 Crater's Claws, 2 Nylea's Disciple, 3 Reclamation Sage, 2 Arbor Colossus, 3 Hornet Nests, and 1 Hornet Queen. I think Nylea's Disciple is probably fine, provided Nick can find some green mana in this game. I don't... End Hostilities might be alright. Arbor Colossus is probably actually pretty good. It blocks Mana Strider, it blocks Stormbreath Dragon. It's a 6/6, so it doesn't die to like Stoke and stuff like that.
You gotta be careful with that card, though. With Chris potentially having Valorous Stance.
Sure.
Arbor Colossus is... I agree it's a good card because not only can it block, but it can also remove.
Yeah.
So it has the ability to essentially kill 2 creatures at one time.
Yeah, I'm probably bringing those in. Probably not End Hostilities. End Hostilities seems weird in this sideboard. I think a guy who... I don't know if he won SCGLA. I literally stopped watching. I went and watched Modern.
Sure.
After I saw that board state,
yeah.
I'm like, Modern is better than this, which is pretty crazy. But I'm pretty sure he had a End Hostilities main deck. It just seems like a weird card in a deck where you get a lot of creatures on the board. But Hornet Nest? Do you think like Hornet Nest is decent? I might actually bring those.
I do like Hornet Nest actually as a card. It was really good when Green Devotion was strong around Theros time. Hornet Nest was a good sideboard card for them to prevent the mono-red Devotion decks that we were talking about from overrunning them early game with Fire Drinker Satyrs, things of that nature. Not to mention it then provides you an extra source of damage to use against your opponent in the form of the 1/1 tokens that it's making.
Yeah, I actually like it here, especially on the play. I mean, like, it makes Goblin Rabblemaster just an awful card.
Yeah, yeah.
If you play Goblin Rabblemaster on the draw and I have a Hornet Nest already, well, Goblin Rabblemaster is essentially a blank then, since every time you attack me, I'm going to make a 1/1 Death Toucher.
Yep.
And Chris doesn't have any good removal for it either. Everything is going to deal damage to it. So I'm probably bringing Hornet Nest, Arbor Colossus, and Nylea's Disciples in. For Chris's sideboard, he has 1 Valor Stance, 1 Glare Heresy, 2 Brimaz, 3 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Negate, 1 Outpost Siege, 2 Anger of the Gods, 1 End Hostilities, and 2 Elspeths. I like Anger of the Gods. I like Elspeth. I don't know. I didn't really see much out of Nick. Valorous Stance, potentially.
I think
maybe some Disdainful Strokes. I think I like Disdainful Stroke too.
I'm okay with the Outpost Siege actually in this matchup too. A lot of my creatures are somewhat expendable, and if it gets to the point where I'm having to rely to draw extra burn to win the match, I'd want to potentially get access to those cards, especially if I think that Nick is playing larger creatures than I am.
Yeah, I don't think it's awful, and I think it's definitely a consideration, especially because I imagine Chris has a fair amount of cards he doesn't want, like Lightning Strikes and Wild Slashes and stuff like that. So, and you might think Anger sounds weird, but a lot of these weird combo-y Devotion decks are just trying to play a bunch of Caryatids, Voyaging Satyrs, Elvish Mystics.
They rely on those
Yeah,
cards, so you're stripping them of that.
Right.
Yeah, understandable.
Especially on the draw here. So Nick's gonna keep, Chris is gonna keep. I think Nick has some looks like a Wooded Foothills and a Nykthos, so I think he'll be able to get green mana in this game.
Yeah, let's hope so.
He also has a forest, so 2 of the 3 colors.
Looks like Chris kept a reactionary hand here. I saw a Stoke the Flames, what appeared to be a Valorous stance. So I wonder if he moved, just like you were saying, kind of sideboarded into more of the control setup against Nick's deck.
Yeah, it's possible.
Love that about the Jeskai decks, too. I think that's awesome that they can do that.
But a lot of decks are moving towards that, like, even, like, I guess, I don't know if Brad's Abzan deck was transitional. I'm sure we'll see that later.
Yeah, probably. There's got to be somebody playing something like that.
So we can discuss the Fleecemane Lions that he decided to blow everybody out with.
I don't know, Joe Bernal at regionals. That Abzan list was probably one of my favorite. And I'm not a huge guy for the aggro list like that, but that deck was really well tuned.
So players just trading land drops here, which is both pretty slow hands. It's pretty interesting. So I imagine Chris is going to play a Mantis Rider here.
Interesting to note, Chris kept the Wild Slashes in.
Yeah, that is interesting. I agree. Nick's
Is that
gonna
a triple fetch
take
in
3
response?
damage.
I don't know if he has a response to the attack, though, so I leave him at 17 after the
Yeah.
fetches.
No, I mean, North's put him at 14.
Yeah, that's
So.
he did snap it off, but I mean, there's potential for a lightning strike here, I guess, or
Yeah. That would be it.
what combo is the Naya deck playing? Just the
I literally have no idea what combo this deck is playing.
I mean, I guess it could be either playing the Whisperwood Elemental Mastery of the Way combo,
Yeah.
Main board. It could also just be the Bounce Make Mana combo with Tamir Sabertooth.
Yeah, I think it's the Mastery of the Unseen Whisperwood Elemental.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't call that a combo. I just call that like a synergy. But I'd call this a Naya mid-range deck.
Sure.
So Nick, interestingly, like fetched for a green source when he had another green source in hand, but still doesn't have a plains.
That is odd.
So Chris gonna poke him for 3 again. Every single turn you let this Mantis Rider hit you is just closer and closer you get to being burnt out. And Nick is one attack away from dying to Stoke the Flames. And looks like Chris has 1. He also has the Outpost Siege,
Yeah.
but he's just going to choose to scry here. This does allow him to cast Stoke the Flames since he can convoke his Mantis Rider. Nick gonna draw for turn. I mean, I don't know what's in Nick's hand, but this is one glacially slow draw.
Very much so. We saw Kent Ketter play a almost mono green version of this deck at SCG Regionals here in Illinois, and it was explosive. You know, it did have a hard time facing down certain burn, but
Flyers.
yeah, for sure. Then again, I did watch him bounce his team, play his team, draw 4, bounce his team, play his team, draw 4, make a hasted, like, 12/12 Genesis Hydra that his opponent couldn't answer. So, I mean, the deck has that kind of potential, but maybe with the addition of Naya, not so much.
Yeah, Nick more banking on the synergy between Whisper and one Elemental and Mastery of the Unseen. That's a Courser.
Yeah,
Promo
alternative art Courser.
Nick's going to reveal a Temple of Plenty. Going to go up to 12.
Yeah, we're kind of under that same impression that the Naya combo deck is, in fact, Whisperwood Elemental splashing, not only for Mastery of the Unseen, but then probably also for Valorous Stance and certain other sideboard cards.
Yeah, he has End Hostilities. I think there's Elspeth in this deck. At least there was in the SCG LA list. So, Chris is going to Valorous Stance Nick's Courser at the end of turn. Nick has a Nykthos on top. I believe he also has another Nykthos. He has
In hand?
looks like 3 Nykthoses in hand.
No.
He has what looks like 3 lands in hand. They look like Nykthoses.
I saw one.
Well, Nick's gonna get Wild Slashed by Chris.
Sorry, Wild Slash is 2.
Chris is gonna poke
There's
him again
the
for
3.
3, put him to 7. So he's now dead to the 2 burn spells Chris has in his hand, and Lightning Strike and Stoke the Flames. And Chris is capable of casting them all this turn if he does have an untapped land. But it doesn't look like he does. He's going to scry.
Doing some quick math. Let's see what he decides to pull out here.
Well, he did have an untapped land. I don't understand. He could have killed him, but I guess he missed that line. Great, you play a Plains. I mean, he's dead anyways. This card does literal nothing.
Yeah, there's your Whisperwood.
So.
Maybe Chris was trying to just take a... No, because he was dead on the spot, correct, to the burn?
Yeah, he's dead to Lightning Strike.
Yeah. Is it Lightning Strike he has or Wild Slash?
I'm pretty sure he has Lightning Strike. Although I would imagine they get boarded out, so I could be seeing the card wrong, but we'll see. Either way, Nick's going to go to 3 and is just dead to
Mana Strider.
Mana Strider.
And I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did have 3 Nick.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was quick.
A savage beating.
That was a savage beating. Once again, Mana Strider, a card that I think we both got behind before. I mean, the card is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, that wasn't much of a game, but...
So we can take a look here and see, as Nick kind of sideboards, what exactly he's kind of got cooking. So he did bring in, what is that? That's the Hornet's Nest.
So he brought in both Hornet Nests, which makes sense. I think it's a pretty good card.
Yeah.
Especially because Chris did keep in Rattlemaster.
What's the other green card?
Arbor Colossus.
Is that Arbor Colossus?
Yeah,
okay, so we were pretty spot on.
Yeah.
As far as sideboards go, but what I mean, just a brutal beating.
Didn't bring in the Nylea's Disciple, which I think is interesting.
No, I'm kind of on. I don't know. I don't know if I like that card as much now that people have Feed the Clans. Nylea's Disciple provides you a body, and you have the potential to Court of Call in for it, but Feed the Clans just seems almost better to me here in this situation.
No, I think the body is relevant, and like it also has the potential to just gain more life than Feed the Clans. Plus, the body is relevant. The body trades with Rattlemaster. It trades with Seeker of the Way most of the time. Yeah, it can attack.
Sure.
I just like that card better than the Feed the Clans.
Okay.
Although, I mean, to be fair, it is 2 mana more expensive. And 10 life is somewhat difficult to get to, especially when Chris is playing a bunch of removal, although I imagine he'd board a lot of it out. So.
Yep, I would agree with you on both those points. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break here. That was a very quick round one.
It was blistering.
We'll be back shortly with